Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us on our very first Support Saturday with Paragon Performance. My name is Korey Payne. I'm the sales manager here at Paragon. I'm going to introduce myself a little bit for those of you that have not met me. You either talk to me on the phone, you email me, or if you're local to us, you stop in. I try to be the upfront face and introduce myself that way. A little bit of background about me. I worked for the last 6 years of my life at a Chevrolet dealership as a Corvette service specialist, handling the oil changes, warranty claims, tires, brakes, pretty much everything with Corvettes for the C7 on up. I did some C6 and everything, but kind of got me to where I am today. So we're going to jump right into the support with Paragon. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be answering some very common questions that I get on a day-to-day basis, but then also allowing you, the customer, to email us, and I'll give you my email a few times and at the end. Email me your questions that I may not be able to get to right away, but I can film these videos and help out. A lot of these are going to be common. A lot of guys may have already talked about them, but it's just information to have, and it's nice to connect with the customers this way. So really common first question I always get is, what is AFM and NPP, and why would I need simulators when purchasing an exhaust? Every C8 Corvette has what's called AFM, that's active fuel management. That is when the vehicle goes into 4-cylinder mode, when you're driving, cruising around like normal. Valves, AFM, active fuel management valves, that open and close depending on if you're in that mode. NPP is for performance exhaust if you have a Z51. So simulators are installed for any event if you buy an exhaust that does not retain both or one of the valves. For example, if you buy a Paragon exhaust, our units do not retain factory valve functionality of the AFM and or NPP valve functions. The simulators are little black boxes. It kind of works as a resistor that get plugged in and put in place to assure that a check engine light is not on because you are not retaining this valve function. If you buy an exhaust like a Borla unit that retains factory AFM and NPP valve functionality, no simulators are needed. So on certain exhausts that we have on our website like Paragon, MBRP, Corsa, units that do not retain this factory valve functionality, we have these simulators as an option to assure you don't have a check engine light, because nobody wants that. It's annoying. You can't use your remote start. If you would like further explanation on this, shoot me that email that we're talking about with a question. I can go more in depth. One quick note on our exhaust valve simulators, the units are a 3-pin connection. Factory valve connectors can be either 4 or 5 pin. Just because ours is 3, doesn't matter. Don't overthink it. It'll work fine. We've tested it on 2020s, 21s, 22s, base models, Z51s, 1LTs, up to 3. Everything we've tested them on, and we have not had any issues on any year, make, and model, excluding 2023s because we haven't seen one yet, but I don't see why General Motors would change anything on that sense. Moving on to the next question is, how do I lower my car and what options do I have? This we actually made our own. I think it's a 7 or 8 minute video on called Lowering Options. We will link that in the product in the YouTube description. Tons of options. I personally call stage 1 lowering or stage 2 lowering. The most common lowering that people are going to be doing is adjusting their factory Z51 and or mag ride coilovers with our set of our coilover spanner wrenches. That'll get you a 3/4 inch drop from factory ride height. And or if they have the front lift feature on their car, we sell what's called front lift collars. So for example, if you have a front lift Z51 and or mag ride car, you would use front lift collars on the front. That'll get you a 3/4 inch drop. And the rear, you'd use our coilover wrenches to match that 3/4 inch drop. So it'll be 3/4 inch in the front, 3/4 inch in the back, lower you down, get rid of some of that monster truck wheel gap, and we have options outside of that. If you want to add lowering springs, if you just want to do lowering springs, if you want to switch to coilover, tons of options. I'm not going to get into it with this because we already have a video that explains all of this and should answer 99% of your questions on that topic. Third, will changing to a 20-inch front wheel and a 21-inch rear wheel fill that wheel gap? pretty misconception with people. They think they put a bigger wheel on their car, they're gonna fill that wheel gap with new tires. Technically, when you're doing this, you need to compensate your tire size. So if you're going with a bigger wheel, wider wheel, you will need to compensate in the width of the tire, but then also the sidewall of the tire. That's the second number. Example, rear tire size 325, 25, 21. The factory rear sidewall in a 19 and 20 is a 30 sidewall. That second number is going to be the percentage of the total width of the first number, 325. We can get into that if you want us to, but in basic sense, what I'm trying to say is just because you put a 20 and 21 inch wheel on your car with the correct tire size does not mean you're going to fill that wheel gap. It's actually going to be the exact same measurements between fender and tire because you're going with a smaller, thinner sidewall of a profile of a tire. Number 4, really common. We've gone through it a lot. Guys on the forums talk and complain about it. I'm sick of my brake dust. Help me. Tons of options on that. Basically, if you have a base model or a Z51, we've got you covered on both scents. The most common brake pad that we sell is called a Carbotech 1521. It is the only red brake pad on the website. Carbotech labels their brake pads with colors, so it's always easy for me to reference it as it's the only red one. You can't mess it up. The Carbotech is a ceramic with Kevlar brake pad, which is going to illuminate about 80 to 90% less brake dust than the factory non-ceramic pads. We have other options on there of Power Stop, Hawk brake pads. The biggest thing is that if you are getting these Carbotechs, they are designed for Z51 only. So if you do not have a Z51, we offer the Hawk brake pads or Power Stop brake pads for base models and Z51s. Tons of options on that. Check it out. Again, if you want more explanation and everything, let us know. We'd be happy to assist. The last question that we're going to be answering today is the difference between Paragon Touring, Paragon Track, and Paragon Titanium exhaust. We have 3 units on the website. All three are going to differentiate in price. The biggest difference in them that is going to be noted is the Paragon Track is a straight pipe exhaust. Through and throughout, straight pipe, no valves, no mufflers, nothing. The Paragon Touring is going to have a high flow muffler. The most common question we have is what's the sound difference? Truthfully, because of the high flow muffler in the Touring and the same muffler that's in the Titanium, you're only going to see about a 2 or 3 decibel sound difference between a Track and a Touring, or a Track and a Titanium, and the Titanium and the Touring are very similar in sound. So a lot of the guys say, I want the exhaust as loud as possible, want it to be rowdy, loud, burbly, everything. Truthfully, any of the 3 units are going to work for you. The Paragon Touring is the most popular unit that we sell because of the price point, because it was the first one we came out with. It's the one we run on our car, and just the fact that with the high flow muffler, it does tone it down just a little bit, that it is a shop's favorite. However, the Paragon Titanium is on our track car, and the biggest benefit on that is just the overall weight savings. It only weighs about 14 or 15 pounds. From a track standpoint, that is huge compared to the factory exhaust. It's about 80 pounds weight. So you're going from 80 pounds to 15, huge difference, huge performance gains on that. And overall aesthetically, the look is amazing. Looking back there, especially if you take back that metal grate, you can really see the unit. It really opens it up, just really aesthetically pleasing on these cars, and really just really adds a lot of character over that factory exhaust. So that's going to wrap it up for support with Paragon. Let us know in the comments and feedback what your thoughts on this. This is brand new for us, so we want to see how it goes. Your questions can be directed directly to me, which is Korey, that's Korey, at paragonperf.com. Again, Korey at paragonperf.com. I would like in the subject if you could put support a Paragon question or questions for your video or something in relation, because of how many emails I do get a day, that I can put all these questions in a folder and answer them as soon as possible. But yeah, let us know what you think about that. Hope to be doing more of these, get this information